today we are going to learn about The Felling of the Banyan Tree by Dilip Chitre. It is a profoundly moving autobiographical poem that captures the emotional and cultural upheaval experienced by the poet and his family when they are forced to leave their ancestral home in Baroda and move to Bombay. The poem centers around the cutting down of a massive, ancient banyan tree that stood as a symbol of the family's roots, heritage, and connection to nature. The poet's father, representing authority and modernity, orders the demolition of the houses and the felling of the trees, despite the grandmother's strong belief that cutting down trees is a sin and a crime against nature. The grandmother's reverence for the trees, especially the banyan, highlights the traditional values that see nature as sacred and integral to family and community life. The process of cutting the banyan tree is described in vivid, almost violent terms, with the poet using words like massacred and slaughter to convey the brutality of the act. The tree, with its enormous trunk and deep roots, is not just a plant but a living monument to the family's history, sheltering countless birds and insects and standing as a witness to generations. The felling of the tree is a traumatic event, taking days and the efforts of many men, and it leaves a deep sense of loss and emptiness in its wake. The poet's tone is one of sadness and helplessness as he watches the destruction of something irreplaceable. The poem explores several important themes, including the conflict between tradition and modernity, the loss of connection to nature in the face of urbanization, and the pain of uprooting and displacement. The banyan tree becomes a powerful metaphor for the poet's own sense of belonging and identity, and its destruction mirrors the family's forced move to the city, where the poet feels alienated and disconnected from the natural world. The poem also touches on issues of patriarchy and authority, with the father's decisions overriding the grandmother's wisdom and the collective memory of the family. Ultimately, the felling of the banyan tree is a poignant meditation on the cost of progress and the importance of honoring our roots, both literal and metaphorical, in a rapidly changing world. Through his personal story, Dilip Chitre raises universal questions about the environment, heritage, and the true meaning of home. Delving deeper into Dilip Chitre's The Felling of the Banyan Tree, it's important to consider the multi-layered symbolism embedded within the narrative. The banyan tree, in this context, extends beyond being a mere symbol of family roots. It represents the very essence of Indian identity, deeply intertwined with nature and tradition. Its destruction signifies not just a physical loss but a cultural and spiritual one, echoing the broader impact of modernization on traditional societies. The act of cutting down the tree can be seen as a metaphor for the aggressive intrusion of Western values, prioritizing progress and development over the preservation of nature and ancient customs. The contrast between the father and the grandmother is central to understanding the poem's thematic complexity. The father embodies the modern, rational mindset, focused on material progress and willing to sacrifice nature for the sake of advancement. His decision to cut down the tree reflects a pragmatic approach, driven by the need to adapt to changing circumstances and embrace new opportunities in the city. In stark contrast, the grandmother represents the traditional worldview, rooted in a deep respect for nature and a belief in the interconnectedness of all living things. Her reverence for the banyan tree stems from a spiritual understanding of its significance, viewing it as a sacred entity that provides shelter, sustenance, and a sense of continuity. The poem's exploration of patriarchy and authority further underscores the power dynamics at play within the family and society. The father's unilateral decision to cut down the tree, despite the grandmother's objections, highlights the patriarchal structure in which male authority often overrides female wisdom and traditional values. The grandmother's voice, though filled with grief and protest, is ultimately silenced, symbolizing the marginalization of traditional voices in the face of modernization. The act of felling the tree is described with visceral imagery, emphasizing the violence and trauma inflicted upon both the tree and the poet's sense of self. The poet's use of words like massacred and slaughter conveys the emotional intensity of the event, suggesting that the destruction of the banyan tree is akin to a personal violation. the rings of the felled tree, revealing its 200-year history, serve as a poignant reminder of the generations it has witnessed and the deep roots it has established in the land, adding a layer of historical and cultural significance to its demise. Moreover, the move to Bombay, a city devoid of such natural grandeur, exacerbates the poet's feelings of alienation and disconnection. The urban landscape, characterized by concrete and steel, stands in stark contrast to the lush, vibrant world of the banyan tree, symbolizing the loss of a simpler, more harmonious way of life. The poem, therefore, becomes a powerful critique of urbanization and its detrimental effects on the environment and human spirit, raising important questions about the true cost of progress and the need to preserve our connection to nature and our cultural heritage. The felling of the banyan tree is more than just a personal narrative, it is a universal story about the challenges of navigating a rapidly changing world and the importance of honoring our roots, both literal and metaphorical. Thanks for tuning in. Like and subscribe to watch more new videos. See you in the next video.